Hey everyone, it's Mari and happy Mother's Day. I'm just working on a 12 by 12 mixed media layout here today. I'm showing you some of the products that I used. So on this layout I have the paper primed with some gesso by Faber-Castell, and I have a Stampin' Up stamp on there. You can see I'm just giving the thumbs up for all that paint that just squirted out onto my palette. So that's just some pink acrylic paint, and I'm just going to put it onto my layout with a palette knife. I want to get it on there fairly thick just to give it a little bit of added oomph there, so it comes off the page a little bit. It doesn't just look like a color on there. And I'm just going to dry that up a tiny little bit before I add the next color, which is kind of a mint green color that I mix with two different colors of paint. So the collection that I'm using here is Maggie Holmes Open Book, and one of the papers that I use has that mint green color, and I'm using a lot of the flower ephemera pieces as well. So I wanted to work some green in there too. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of that pink since there's a lot on my palette to use up. And now I think I'm just going to go ahead and mix that green. So that's quite a bright green, obviously. I'm just going to mix a little bit of the white and green together, just a tiny little wee bit of that green, so that I get just a really pretty pale mint green. That's all I want, just a little hint of green in that paint so that it just coordinates a little bit with the green on the layout. I love working with acrylic paint on paper. Used to use a lot of acrylic paint in some art pieces that I did, and I still really enjoy using it. It's something that's easy to put down, it's easy to work with, it dries fast, and it just adds some really pretty color. So I'm just going to put that mint paint on there with a brush this time rather than the palette knife, because I didn't have very much of it mixed up. So I just put a little bit of that on there, and make sure that you get the water infused in with your brush so that that paint doesn't dry in your tools. And then I'm going to just wipe up a little bit of the excess paint off of there that's in chunks, because it'll take it a long time to dry otherwise. It does dry quickly if you have the right layer, but if you have sort of a chunkier layer, it's going to take it a little bit of time to dry, and I wanted to just get rolling with the layout. So I'm going to use that Dear Lizzie, I think it is, Serendipity stencil. I'm going to mix some of that paint, that same pink paint, with some texture paste. I just felt obligated to try and use up some of that paint. So I just got that stencil. Flowers are a big part of this layout, so that stencil works really well for all different kinds of medium that you want to use on your layouts, including texture paste. So I'm just going to put a few of the flowers that I like the most with this layout on there, and put them across that horizontal line going across that top third of the paper, because that's where I'm going to layer the ephemera and the photographs on the layout. They'll go horizontally across the entire layout. So just giving a little bit of texture there at the top just to frame in the pieces that I'm going to be using in the center of the layout. So I'm just going to clean up that stencil quick on my craft mat there, on my mixed media mat. Get that all cleaned up. Just give it a little spritz of water. It makes it a little bit easier to clean it. So I hope everybody's having a great Mother's Day. I hope you're getting to do something fun, and maybe even mix in a little bit of crafting. My kids came home for the weekend, so it was a super special weekend for us, and they just headed back to the city now, so I'm just going to finish up this video and get it up onto my channel. So what I'm going to do now is just start to sort of decide what I want to do with the papers and the ephemera, and just get some ideas about what's going to happen with the layout, because I really didn't know. I didn't have a plan. I didn't use a layout for an idea. I just kind of was winging it. So I'm using a couple of pictures here that are vintage pictures. One has just a picture of my mom in it, and the other one is a picture of my mom and my grandma. And they're really nice pictures. I love these two pictures. So I'm using the Maggie Holmes Open Book collection because it just has that vintage feel to it, and I just thought that it was perfect for this layout. I actually really have been hoarding it, and this is the perfect layout to use it with because it's a dedication page. And I just thought, well, this is perfect because it's got all of the elements that I think Mom would like and Grandma would like. So yeah, it works perfectly for that. So I actually got it out and made the sacrifice to use it today. So that's good. So just, I'm not even sure what these papers are called. I know you guys have seen them. I think this collection's been around for maybe not quite a year, but pretty darn close, I would imagine. And I'm just going to check out and see which papers I want to use there. So, and then I'm going to use a couple of the chipboard frames too. So I ended up sizing the pictures to be the same size. And then I decide later that I'm going to use that narrow frame for Mom and Grandma's picture. So I end up sizing that picture down a little bit. So now I'm just getting out some of the ephemera pieces. I put them down, but I end up changing everything around once I take a little break from this video for a bit and visit with the kids, and then I come back to it later and finish it up. So it doesn't really look like this exactly when I'm done, but this is a reasonable facsimile of how it works out. So I'm just checking out all those different ephemera pieces and seeing which ones I want to use. I just took out the ones I thought I was going to use and put them in a container. So now this is where I took a little break and now I'm back and I'm just showing you all the things that I did. So I did some sewing on the paper and I sized those pictures down for those frames and I got them stuck down. And then I glued the whole layout onto it's a black and cream colored plaid paper for Maggie Holmes Open Book, and it's really pretty. So I just gutted it and I'm using it as a frame pardon me, on the layout. So I'm going to start sticking things down and getting them into place. I ended up changing up that piece of paper that's on the bottom. I used a piece that has green in it just to bring the mint green color into things a little bit there. So what I did is I just placed these ephemera pieces into place, and then I just took some quick dry adhesive and glued everything down underneath the pieces. I just thought that would be the easiest way. That little piece I'm putting there on the right is actually a library card, or an ephemera piece that looks like a library card, which I couldn't resist because my grandma was a librarian for a lot of years and a lot of people remember her working in the library. So I just thought that was a cute little piece to stick in there. And there's another piece that I put in that you don't see on camera because I added it off camera, but it's a little bunny with a rotary phone dial on it. And she also used to work in a telephone office. So I had to, you can see it, it's right there, that little bunny. And I had to put that on there too. So right now I'm just trying to figure out where I want to put all those flowers and work them in, because my mom and my grandma were both avid gardeners. They both love flowers. And so I thought, this is perfect. I couldn't think of a better layout to use all of these pieces on. And then I'm just going to try to decide what I want to do for a title and what maybe use some of these rub-ons. And I actually end up using one of the rub-ons and then some of the Maggie Holmes thicker words as part of the title as well. So I love how this layout turned out. It's just really, I think it's something both of these ladies would absolutely adore. And I thought that, it just is so them. They both love to garden. Lots of similarities between the two of them. Obviously, they both love to cook, and they were both such good cooks. And although I didn't work that element into the layout, the flowers are certainly very, very fitting. I thought when I first saw those flowers, I thought maybe they were peonies, but they're not. They're roses, but it would have been cool if they were peonies because they both loved peonies and both grew those in their yards. So I'm just going to rub that always down there and get that on there. And then the other part of the title is just that heart you at the top, love you, and then always. And I do some journaling on this layout in the bottom right quadrant section there, but I do that off camera, so you can see that in the still shots and see what I chose to write in there. So yeah, I just had a lot of fun with this layout today. It was nice to get into my scrap room and do a little bit of scrapping and dedicate the scrapbooking to my mom and my grandma. It was nice on Mother's Day to do that. And I enjoyed it a lot. It was fun. I love the mixed media on the paper, and I love doing mixed media. And so a lot of you in the giveaway comments for the 300 subscriber giveaway have mentioned that you like to see more mixed media. So my goal is to try to do at least every second layout in mixed media. So we'll see if that actually happens. So that fine line applicator that I'm using there, the larger gauge applicator, I put the quick dry adhesive in that one, and it seems to work well. And then the more fine one, I put glossy accents, and then that really tiny one has the Ranger multimedia matte, and I like that because it's not shiny, so it just dries matte. So if it squirts out over the edge, you don't really see it. So I'm almost done with this layout, and I just want to thank you so much for watching and for all of your kind comments and all of the subscriptions. You have no idea how nice that is, and I hope that you have an amazing day, and thanks so much for joining me and for watching today. Bye.